What's up, Net Soldiers? I'm the Alliance, and welcome back to another video. So today we have another worst rank list ever, and this one comes from a person from a Discord called Plo-Koon. So it might actually be the real Plo-Koon. Maybe he survived Order 66 after all. But thank you very much for sending me this link so I can do this video. If you guys find any other like worst rank list something, or a like terrible opinion that you want to hear my opinion on, go ahead and leave links in the comments below, or go to my Discord like Plo-Koon did, and you can post it there. So yeah. Now with that said, guys, if you enjoy this video, please want to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more. And I guess we'll just jump right in at number 25. Okay, at number 25 we have Coleman Trebor. Okay, I'm actually okay with this one. They're doing just the best Jedi, the most powerful Jedi, I should say. So overall best with lightsaber, overall best with the Force, just overall most powerful Jedi if you take in all the different type of elements that go into the specific Jedi. So there's a lot of Jedi to go over, and they only have 25, so I can understand. We're going to start with Coleman Trebor very low. He doesn't really have any great feats. We don't really see him do anything ever because he dies before the Clone Wars, and yeah, he gets shot by Jango pretty easily, so I guess I'll be okay with putting him there. Next one, Agent Cooler. So Agent Cooler is another one we didn't really see much of, so I'm not really offended by this. We see Agent Cooler get his butt kicked really quick. Now the argument you can make about this fight is that even though it doesn't really show it in the movie, you're supposed to be seeing it as a perspective as a viewer. But Palpatine was actually moving so quick in that fight. That's why the other Jedi didn't have any time to, get into battle stance. They just thought they're gonna come and capture this old guy. He probably wasn't actually the real, Sith Lord. They were just ready just for battle, but not necessarily ready to just have to defend in a second. And in a split second, Palpatine flies across the room and stabs one of them, and then slices down the other two. Now, of course, Kit, being as quick of a lightsaber duelist as he is, he's able to kind of hold his own for a little bit, but of course he gets sliced down. And Mace Windu, being Mace, he was ready for anything, So Stacy and Ajan, they were not ready for that. But I can understand why someone would put him here, because like I said, there's a lot of other powerful Jedi we see, and we don't really get much out of Agent Cooler, so that's okay. Next one, CAC-10. Now I just said the same thing about CAC-10. We see him more in the Clone Wars. He does a pretty good job when like parts you see him. I would maybe put him a little bit higher than this, but there aren't like moments that you can really like point out where you're like, CAC-10 is amazing. So I think the original Clone Wars like animated cartoon series, that had a really cool moment with him, but I can understand why people would put him so low, especially considering, like I said, about the only real thing we get to see from him in Revenge of the Sith, or in the movies anyways, is when he is getting sliced down really quick, so I can understand why he'd be here. Next one, Yaddle. I don't really know much about Yaddle. I know Legends Yaddle was pretty good. I know she wasn't as powerful as Yoda. I knew she was more of like a mystical type of Yoda, or type of Yoda creature, or I should say like even just a Jedi. She was more mystical, less actually combat oriented. But I'd probably put her lower on this list. I don't know if I could put her over Agent Cooler or even CAC-10, because those two had fought in the Clone Wars, and Jedi who fight in the Clone Wars are through more battles than Jedi in the past. Not that Jedi in the past didn't do battles or fight and do things, of course they did, but when you're in the Clone Wars, you're fighting almost constantly. You're keeping your skill up. There's no point where you just have to kind of like sit back and relax. You're constantly continuing to push yourself and be the most prime you can be. So I don't know if I could put Yaddle this high compared to them. Next one, Aayla Secura. Okay, yeah, she was pretty good fighter. I know she was a quick duelist. She's kind of like Kit Fisto in a way that she was a quick duelist. Powerful wise, I guess I'm okay with her putting her here. I don't know if I'd put her above like Stacy, maybe above Kular, but I don't know about Stacy, but I'm okay with it. I understand, I'm okay with it. Next one, Barriss Offee. So Barriss over Aayla or Stacy or Agent, I just can't see it. She's a decent duelist, but we've never seen like a real like powerful feat by her. So I mean, I guess the best thing she ever did was kind of keep up with Ahsoka, but even back then Ahsoka wasn't even like fully as powerful as she is later on. So I would maybe even put her behind Agent Cooler in this one, but that's just me. Next one, we have Shaak Ti. So Shaak Ti is definitely a very good duelist. She's not as quick as some duelists, but she definitely has more of a battle instinct. And she's also wise. I might actually put her a little bit higher than this on the list, but we already know this. I'm just going to say, we know that the top three, or I should say the top five like Jedi we're going to see in this, usually in all these lists, no matter how bad or good they are, the top five are always have to be like Mace Windu, Yoda, Anakin. We know, and Obi-Wan, you know, we know those four are definitely going to be like the top four. But so far, this list isn't that bad. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can't really say it's the worst. So I'm sure it's, every time I say that when I'm doing one of these videos, it gets worse. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what we got here. All right, next one. Jocasta Noon. Now, she is the type of Jedi who is more mystical. Like I mentioned about Yaddle, less of an actual battle-oriented Jedi and more about the knowledge she knows. So powerful-wise, she might know a lot of tricks with the Force, but if you take into a bunch of different events into place, her lightsaber skill was not nearly as on par as something like Anakin, or even like a Jedi Council member such as like Sayesi or Agent Kular. So while she does know a lot of stuff, I would actually have to put her behind those two, in my opinion. Next one, Sifo Dyas. Here's the situation about Sifo Dyas. I don't know enough about him except for what we see in the Clone Wars. He was a buddy of Count Dooku's at one point, so I'd like to believe that maybe him and Dooku trained together, and we know that Dooku was super powerful, so you could kind of, if you wanted to, believe that maybe he was near his power too, but we don't know enough of him, so I don't even know if I could really put him on this list. So, that's just my opinion. Next one, Kanan Jarrus. You know, I don't really think it's fair to put anyone after the Clone Wars, any Jedi after the Clone Wars, against Jedi in the Clone Wars, because in the Clone Wars, the Jedi were like at their prime as far as their power goes. I know that the light side of the Force was getting weaker. They stated that in the movie, but overall, like physically talking, like their power was just a different type of power. They were trained every single day. So I don't know if I could really put Kanan above majority of these characters. Definitely not over Sayesi. You know, I couldn't put him over Agent Kular. You know, Kanan versus Palpatine. Palpatine would wreck Kanan's day in a second, you know? And, you know, he did that to Agent Kular and Sayesi Tin as well. But if Sayesi Tin and Kular were ready, I think they'd be able to kind of defend better. But with Kanan Jarrus, yeah, I'm going to have to keep him. I'd probably put him up higher. He might actually be somewhere around, like, probably a little better than Barriss Offee, but not anywhere further up than that, at least in my opinion. Next one, Plo Koon at number 15. Wow. So, Plo Koon is, like, a really powerful Jedi. I think he actually might be, like, the third most powerful Jedi, I think. I mean, here's the thing. This all can change. This is all Disney canon now. But in the old like legends, I'm pretty sure he was the third, even though Ki-Adi-Mundi was like the third highest council member as far as you know, superiority. As far as power goes, Plo Koon was like right behind Mace. It was Yoda, Mace, and then Plo. I'm pretty sure. Might have changed it, but I think I remember hearing that. So to have him this low, man, like. That's probably too low on the list. I'd have to put him. I had to probably put him in the top 10, but it's not my list, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next one, Ezra Bridger. Okay, now I understand why they're saying this is the worst list. Here's the thing: Ezra has a lot of potential. His power potential is probably on par with something like Luke Skywalker. You know, however, from what we see out of Ezra at his prime, as far as the Rebels go, he couldn't keep up with any of the Jedi from the Clone Wars, especially not Plo Koon. You know, even Ayla. You know, definitely not Sayesi Tin or Agent Kular. No, that's just no. Next one, Ahsoka Tano. Okay, so Ahsoka is definitely more powerful than any of the other characters we've seen so far, besides like Plo. She could probably beat Agent Kular. I don't know if I could really put her against Sayesi Tin. That would be a tough fight. That'd actually be pretty fun to watch. I do think she could pretty much beat anybody else on this list, though, as far as a battle goes, besides Plo Koon. I think Plo Koon would probably beat her, but that's my opinion, of course. Moving on to the next one, we have Depa Bilibeba. Now this, I can never say her name. This is Kanan's former master before when he was Caleb Doom. Once again, we don't really see anything of her that puts her on par with anyone, really. I know that she was the apprentice of Mace Windu. It actually says it right there. So in a way, you could say, well, Mace taught her a lot of stuff, but there's never really been any type of feat, any type of power moment that we saw her being, incredibly good. So, end of the day, I have to probably say that I couldn't put her above Ahsoka or Plo Koon. Maybe somewhere else, but I still think Ahsoka and Plo Koon, they're in the top so far. Okay, next one we have Ben Solo. Now this is a tough one to say because Ben's power is only as strong as Rey's power, right? Like we see in the sequel trilogy, the powers will meet each other because, the last light side user, the last dark side user type of thing. I guess I'm okay putting him here. I don't think that Kylo overall, like if I was going to put a fight, I think that power-wise, Kylo is stronger in the Force than the majority of the Jedi we see. But if we're talking about overall skill, lightsaber fighting, just physical and both Force strength, the most powerful overall, I can't put Ben this high. He'd get his butt kicked by Ahsoka in a real fight. He'd get his butt kicked by Plo Koon. Maybe he could keep up with like C-Tin or Ajan Cooler, but Plo Koon and Ahsoka would wreck his day, so I couldn't put him that high. Next one, Illuminara Unduli. So this is interesting. Illuminara Unduli is this high. I think the main reason is because we see more of her feats in the Clone Wars compared to a lot of other characters. I think she's a good fighter, but she did also technically lose to Asajj Ventress. And I would put Asajj Ventress on the same skill level as kind of like, Ahsoka, like mid-Clone Wars. Not that Asajj Ventress couldn't become better, but I feel like she hit her peak and then she never tried to do better. She just kind of stayed there. And like at first she does a pretty decent job against, Jedi who are kind of, they know how to fight, of course, but they're not like used to actual real battle and stuff. Like she actually is able to kind of hold off Obi-Wan and Anakin at first, but not necessarily because she's stronger than them. It's just because she's better at evading and kind of keeping herself going back and back and back and keeps them coming forward. She's good at that. But I just can't see Luminara Unduli this high, especially not over Plo Koon. I think Luminara could probably beat Kylo. So, no. And then definitely Ahsoka, I believe. By the time we see Ahsoka at her prime, like I guess you could say Rebels era, or the last season of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka could beat Luminara, in my opinion. So, I'm going to keep it there. Next one, Kit Fisto. So we know that Kit Fisto overall, he was able to take on General Grievous by himself. And that's something important to note because the only other Jedi who could really do that was Obi-Wan. And as we know, Obi-Wan overall is very powerful as well. So I would put Kit Fisto as probably one of the best lightsaber duelists. Force-wise, he doesn't really have anything special about him. Not that he's like bad. It's just like there's nothing like, really massive feats that come with Kit Fisto that make him like amazing. So I'd kind of put him somewhere maybe around the same spot as like Plo Koon. So far, I'd probably say what we've seen so far of the characters, Plo Koon would probably be the strongest one we've seen. Then Ahsoka, and then Kit. And then all the other characters are just kind of, different beyond that point. But those are the three strongest characters we've seen so far on this list. And, yeah, at least in my opinion. Okay, next one we have Ki-Adi-Mundi. So Ki-Adi-Mundi is, he's a more powerful type Jedi. He's not necessarily the best lightsaber duelist, but his Force abilities are a lot stronger. I would always say, like, Yoda's a really good duelist and Force ability user. Like, he can kind of, he's great like that. Mace, while he's good at both, he is primarily the better lightsaber duelist, and Ki-Adi-Mundi is while he's good at both, he's better at Force abilities than the actual lightsaber dueling. So while Ki-Adi-Mundi is a powerful warrior, I couldn't put him above Plo Koon. I might actually put him on par with Plo Koon, or maybe like just a little bit under him. Okay, and for our next one we have... Oh... Yep, this is officially the worst list when it comes to this type of topic here. At number 7, we have Anakin Skywalker. No. Anakin overall, if we're talking power, we're talking lightsaber skill, we're talking strength, we're talking just battle prowess, he should be in the top 3. I'll get into who I personally think the top 3 would be, but I should do top 5. I'll do top 5 later on at the end of the video. But he should at least be in the top 5. How do you put him at number 7? Who is after him? I mean, we definitely have Mace. You're going to put Obi-Wan somewhere on here, and you're going to put Yoda, but what other people can you put above Anakin? Especially Anakin Episode 3. And now I know the picture shows Anakin Episode 2, but we're talking prime warriors here, at the prime at which we've seen them. So, let's just move on. Let's see who they put for number 6. Number 6, Qui-Gon Jinn. Okay, here's the thing. Qui-Gon, yes, very powerful. I believe that if he and Darth Maul were to fight without a bunch of obstacles in the way, and Darth Maul couldn't kind of run away and kind of keep evading Qui-Gon's attacks, I think Qui-Gon would have actually beat Maul. Now that's something that has kind of been debated by a lot of fans, but that's how I personally feel. Especially if you consider the fact that the entire time, you know, Qui-Gon's got Maul on the back pedal. So, I don't know. I couldn't put Qui-Gon as powerful as Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, Anakin, definitely not. I'd maybe put him a little bit above Ahsoka. I still think, like, if a lightsaber battle happened between Ahsoka and Qui-Gon, Ahsoka might actually win because of her speed. Qui-Gon's got really powerful and strong hits. But if we're talking about, like, true powerful characters, I understand where Qui-Gon is coming from in that respect, because he is a super powerful, as far as the Force goes, Jedi. Not necessarily because he can use the Force push and stuff like that, but like he's very entwined. I can use that word, yeah. He's very entwined with the Force. You know, he doesn't necessarily use it as much as he is part of it, and we see that when he comes back as a Force ghost, or he never mastered the ability, so he's not technically a Force ghost until he's like in a, you know, an area where he can kind of draw from the Force more, and he can make himself appear, compared to Yoda and Obi-Wan, who they learn the ability through Qui-Gon. So, while Qui-Gon is very powerful, as far as overall powerful Jedi goes, and we're talking like being able to fight and win, Qui-Gon is not this high, at least in my opinion. And here's the thing, Qui-Gon is my favorite character out of all of Star Wars ever, but I can't put him this high. Might just be me, but that's my opinion. Next one, at number 5, we have, oh wow, Mace Windu. Mace at number 5. Wow. In overall strength, Mace is in the top 3. It has to be. Who are you going to put in front of him besides Yoda? I know Obi-Wan, you can't put Obi-Wan in front of Mace. I know that one time in Legends, Obi-Wan and Mace fought. Obi-Wan was able to kind of hold off Mace for a little bit before Mace, I think, does defeat him, or they come to a stalemate or whatever. But that's because Obi-Wan is a master defensive duelist, and Mace is like a master everything. What are you gonna put for number? Let's just keep going. Number 4, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, here's the thing. Obi-Wan is not nearly as powerful as Mace. He is powerful. His defensive ability allowed him to hold off not only Mace and Legends, but also be able to actually hold off General Grievous and hold off an Anakin Skywalker in his prime. So I can understand why he'd be this high in this list. But I can't put Obi-Wan over Mace. You just can't. being a big Star Wars fan as I am, I couldn't do that. It's just not right. Okay, at number 3 we have Rey. Oh my gosh, I forgot about Rey. Not to like be mean, not to like hurt anyone's feelings about me forgetting about Rey. I'm thinking about all these other Jedi. I just didn't think about Rey when it came to the rest of the Jedis. Oh man, no, I can't put Rey this high. Rey wouldn't stand a chance against any of the Clone Wars Jedi. I mean, sure, she's very powerful as far as the Force goes. You know, she's a Palpatine, as well as she has her light side is meeting Kylo's dark side. So as they both get stronger, they gain power together. And yes, she beat Palpatine in the end, but it's more as though she outsmarted Palpatine again, and she was able to kind of wield the power of the other Jedi to help her finish him off. But in the end of the day, Rey would get her butt kicked by Plo Koon. Rey would get her butt kicked by Ahsoka. Rey would get her butt kicked probably by even like Ezra. Maybe not Ezra, but definitely like Kanan, you know? So yeah, no. Nah, I can't put it that high. Sorry. Number 2, it is Luke Skywalker. I think if we're talking Luke Skywalker from Legends, then yes. Powerful wise, I 100% agree. He became like God tier, even more powerful than Yoda, more powerful than Anakin in Legends. But canon Luke, we just don't see enough of him to really, you know, put him at a spot where he deserves to be like this. You could say like, well, Luke beat Vader, but in a way, Vader didn't necessarily let Luke win, but Vader was fighting two fronts in a way, you know, because Luke was fighting him physically on the outside, and Anakin was fighting him in the inside. So Vader's fighting this double battle between, you know, him. There's Vader, and then there's Anakin, and there's Luke, and they're both fighting him from two different sides. So I can't really say like, while Luke did victor over Vader, Vader also clearly had some turmoil in him, and he wasn't nearly at the peak of power which we've seen Vader in the past. So I guess you could say like when Luke uses the Force in Episode 8 to like transfer himself all the way to Crate to fight Kylo, but not really fight him. That's a really powerful move, but that's not really like a combat move. That's not necessarily going to help you if you're standing in someone's way who wants to kill you. I think Luke is very formidable with a lightsaber, but we've never actually got to see him in his prime as far as how powerful he can become. One day I think they'll release like, maybe they'll do like a Disney Plus show on it, or they'll have like a book or a comic series on, you know, Luke and him becoming the prime character like we kind of see in Legends. But from what we saw, I just can't put him this high. So Luke, I guess you could say prime Luke as far as overall fighting abilities would have been like around Episode 6, and he was powerful, but I don't think he would have stood a chance against the majority of the Clone Wars Jedi. You know, Ki-Adi-Mundi would have won against Luke. Kit Fisto would have beat Luke. Maybe Luke could have stood a chance against like Agent Cooler, maybe CAC-10. I think he would have beat Kanan and Ezra, definitely. Probably, he would have probably been beaten by Ahsoka, though. I don't know. I can't put Luke Skywalker this high anymore. At one time, I would have definitely put him up here, but not anymore. And number 1, I'm going to guess it's going to be, yeah, Yoda. So number 1 is Yoda. That makes sense. Yoda is powerful. He is beautiful. And he's brave. He deserves to be the most powerful Jedi. So, here's my thoughts. The top 5 Jedi, in any real order. Ultimately, I don't really know where I'd put them in the order, but this is definitely the top 5 Jedi. Yoda, Mace, Anakin. I might put Obi-Wan in there, but honestly, I'd put more of like Sindralig. That's a character they missed on here. Wow, they missed Sindralig. Wow, how do you miss Sindralig? He's like, he trained like almost every single Jedi. And then I would probably put like overall power. Yeah, Obi-Wan. We'll put Obi-Wan on there. Those are your top 5, in my opinion. What do you guys think about this list? Was it really that bad? Do you think that I was exaggerating on these? Do you think I'm wrong? Let me know in the comments below. How would you rank these Jedi? Or what is your top 5? Let me know. Comments below. But thanks again for watching, guys. If you want to see more videos like this, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications. If you see any videos / articles in the wild like this that you think you want to hear my opinion on, make sure to leave links in the comments below or in my Discord, and I will, if I use it, I'll give you a shout out. But thanks again for watching, guys. I'll catch you later. Peace.